Ouch. We've all been there, right? A little slip, a fall, a bump. But do you actually know the right English words to explain what happened? In this explainer, we're going to build up your vocabulary toolkit so you can talk about these common injuries like a pro. So let's say you've just had a little accident. How do you explain it? Do you just say, I hurt my arm? I mean, that works, but is there a better word? Absolutely. And choosing the right one makes all the difference. That's exactly what we're going to nail down today. All right, let's kick things off with the most common stuff. You know, the injuries you can actually see on your skin. We're talking about those everyday bumps and scrapes that, let's be honest, we all get from time to time. First up, a super common one, a scratch. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like maybe you got a little too close to a rose bush, or your kitten got a bit playful. A scratch is really just that, a tiny mark right on the surface of your skin. It doesn't go deep at all. And you'll hear people say this all the time. Oh, it's just a small scratch. You see how that immediately lets everyone know it's not a big deal? It's basically the perfect way to say, hey, don't worry, I'm fine. Okay, but what happens when it's a bit more serious? Well, that's where the word cut comes in. Think of a cut as a scratch's bigger, meaner cousin. It actually goes deeper, it breaks the skin, and yeah, you're probably going to see some blood. And here's a scenario I bet a lot of us can relate to. I accidentally cut my finger while cooking. It happens, right? But that one sentence paints a much clearer and, frankly, more serious picture than just saying it's a scratch. So when you put them side by side like this, the difference is crystal clear, isn't it? It's just a small scratch, sounds like nothing. But I cut my finger, well, that sounds like it actually hurts. See? The word you pick totally changes how people understand what happened to you. Okay, let's switch gears. What about an injury where the skin doesn't break? That's a bruise. You know exactly what this is, that classic black and blue mark you get after, say, walking into the corner of a table. All the damage is happening under the skin. And talking about it? Super simple. You just say, there's a bruise on my arm. It's so direct, so clear, everybody knows exactly what you mean. All right, how about injuries that come from heat? For those, the word we need is burn. This could be from anything really, touching a hot stove, a splash of steam, or even just getting a little too much sun at the beach. And a classic example you'll hear is, I burned my hand on the stove. Boom. One simple sentence and you've covered what happened, where it happened, and how. It's perfect. Okay, so we've handled all the injuries you can see on the outside. But what about the ones you feel more than you see? Let's dive into the world of aches and pains. So, have you ever, twisted your ankle or your wrist in a really awkward way? Well, that specific kind of injury has a name. It's a sprain. What's happening is you've damaged the ligaments around a joint from that sudden, weird movement. You hear this one a lot after sports. Something like, I think I sprained my ankle playing football. Right away, that tells you the location, it's a joint, and gives a pretty good idea of what caused it. Now, something that almost always goes hand in hand with a sprain is swelling. That's simply when a part of your body gets bigger or puffier than it should be, as a reaction to getting hurt. And here's a key tip on how to talk about it. You don't usually say, I have swelling. Instead, you describe the body part itself. For instance, you'd say, my knee is swollen. See the difference? And now for something that is so common, back pain. It's a really general term for any kind of ache or discomfort you feel in your back, and boy, can it have a lot of different causes. I feel like pretty much everyone can relate to this one. My back's been hurting from sitting too long. It's just a perfect real-world example of how to talk about that kind of nagging ache. Whew, okay, we have covered a ton of new words. So for this last part, let's pull it all together into a nice, neat vocabulary toolkit that you can come back to anytime. And here you go, everything in one spot. You've got the injury on the left and a perfect example sentence on the right. Honestly, this is a great slide to just pause and take a quick screenshot of. It's a super handy cheat sheet. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Well, it's that you now have this awesome toolkit of specific words. You don't have to just say, I hurt myself anymore. Now you can explain exactly what's wrong with total confidence. So we've covered how to name the problem, how to identify it, but that's really just the start of the conversation, isn't it? So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Now that you can say what's wrong, what are you going to learn to say next?